Hey guys, so welcome to our channel Midnight Films, and it's another midnight movie review. And you know what we are reviewing? It's Dhamaka, starring Kartik Aaryan, and is directed by Madhvani. So, disclaimer: before watching the film, we had a lot of inhibitions because why is a director like Madhvani making a remake? He's such a good director, but trust me, when we finished watching it, it was a dhamaka. We loved it. We loved every bit of the film. And we haven't seen the original film Terror Life, so we're not going to compare. This is going to be a standalone review of Dhamaka. So let's start with the plot of the film. And Azim, you can take over.
So the story follows a reporter named Arjun Pathak who gets a call from an anonymous caller who threatens him that he wants an apology from the minister because that minister was responsible for some tragedy in his family. And if he doesn't get that apology, he is going to blow up the ceiling
Bombay.
bridge of Bombay. So then we follow Arjun Pathak as he's trying to, get trying to deal with this anonymous caller and trying to get the minister to come there and give that apology and all the surrounding chaos that ensues around him, especially with his workplace and then the attitudes of his boss and his colleagues. So that's how the plot goes.
And like this is a perfect plot which tells you how stakes go higher up as this plot progression, because when the film starts, like the inciting incident, you will find it very silly, but then boom, and the stakes are much higher. So it's like a very well knit plot. And but for the plot to work, you need characters in that universe, in that setting, to work. And when it comes to characters, there's both positive points and negative points. If I have to talk about the positive points, it has to be first Kartik Aaryan's character. Like Mayor of Easttown, he has a professional arc and a personal arc. During the professional side of things, when he's conversing with this guy called Raghubir Mata, who is the apparently the terrorist. So there's a thing, like if you have seen the trailer, like he wants an apology from the minister Jaidev Patil, I think.
Yes, Jaidev Patil.
So, and he has we see him in a stage in his life where his relationship with his wife is strenuous. Why? Watch the film and you will know. And at the end of the film, spoiler alert. I mean, this is not a spoiler.
Not spoil.
This is not a spoiler, but like he also realizes through the journey of the terrorist's character that he, like, why did his marriage fall apart and how could he save it. Now whether or not he save his marriage, like, for to that, know that you have to watch the film. But I think Kartik's character was a very well laid character. There were many layers to it, and it was a very well written character. I'm gonna get into Kartik's performance later. And the second character who we both really liked was Raghubir Mata, and there's a surprise to it which will not spoil, which is played by Soham Majumdar. Being a Bengali, very proud, of the performance he has given. We're gonna come to it later, but you don't know till the end of the film that is he the antagonist, is he the anti-hero, or what is he? Like, when I saw Todd Phillips' Joker, I was broken by the end. I didn't know whether to support, Joaquin Phoenix's ideology or like the counter of it. This will place you at a crossroad when you look at Raghubir Mata's conflict, the character played by Soham Majumdar. So it's a very well written character. It has a brilliant backstory, and like the backstory is so solid that it will, like, as a human being, it will like make you question. And there can be loads of discussions about privilege, about class, about how society is in our country. So it's again a brilliantly written character. And as I said, you never know till the end that who is right and who is wrong. Who should you support? Kartik? Should you support Soham Majumdar's character? Who should you support? Negative points when it comes to characters, two characters I would say. Uh, Amruta Shubhas's character. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. I don't remember her character name though. She plays Kartik Aaryan's boss, and the second one is Mrunal Thakur's character. So the film is just 1 hour 45 minutes. So they could have given a little more space to the characters. Like Amruta Shubhas's character, like she is a certain way. Why she is that? We haven't been shown.
It's very flat.
It's just a one-dimensional character.
Yes.
It's like a typical antagonist kind of a character. Or
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it an antagonist, because from a capitalist point of view, she is doing a good job.
Plus, you don't really get much of Mrunal Thakur's characters as
Yeah.
well. You know, you don't really
So-
understand her character.
So yeah,
know,
Amrita Shubhas's character
more.
is exactly one dimensional, one layer. So probably they could have gone into a backstory of her as to why she is how she is. And with Mrunal Thakur's character, there has been one more layer which highlights her conflict with her husband, which is Arjun Pathak, played by Kartik Aaryan. But that also like didn't.
We don't get depth about it.
Yeah, we just through one dialogue, I think we are just brushed upon it, but we don't know exactly what happened or what was the big intensity of that incident.
or
So-
what split them apart, you know? That's
What split them apart, they said, but they didn't go into
Yeah.
the details of it.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's why, like, I mean, I understand it's a film, it's difficult to layer all characters unlike a show, but the film was 1 hour 45 minutes. It could have been 30 minutes more, probably, you know. But again, like, the thrill could have been lost. But anyway, like, those are 2 points which we felt, negative. So, what was your take on characters?
So my take on characters, again, Kartik Aaryan is the only one who got like a proper character, character arc in the story. He starts off as this very arrogant, cynical, radio prime time
Flamboyant.
anchor turned radio jockey, flamboyant radio jockey, exactly. And we see him, he, as the film progresses, we see how he's pushed from that zone to a completely different zone, how he goes through that very, a very transformative journey, like how he becomes more and more remorseful, more and more, tense. His attitude, his, I don't give a fuck attitude is like, it changes over the course of the movie. And you actually get to see scenes of him panicking, fearing for, his life, unable to, handle just what all is happening around him, and all that trauma and everything he has to deal, how he has to internalize all this shit everybody around him, including his one-dimensional boss, is giving to him. That is just really, it's really amazing how much Kartik Aaryan, we can see that he has that range. He's bringing something to Arjun Pathak. It's not like other characters he plays. He brings something to this character. Brings a whole new level of a dimension to him, a whole new level of aura to him. So that's all. Kartik Aaryan is essentially the main takeaway from this whole movie.
Yeah,
it's him.
like
it's all him.
The performance of
Performance
Kartik
is
Aaryan.
him.
This is for me. This is Kartik's career best performance.
Yes.
And after I watched this film, I don't think I can imagine any other character, any
Who
other
could have
actor
played him
who
perfectly?
played-
We couldn't have
probably,
imagined.
but like he's so
Yeah.
good, it's difficult to imagine now. And like for some time, like Kartik was playing in his safe zone. Then he did Love Aajkal, which as a film I didn't really like his performance, but this film will show you what range Kartik has from the beginning, where, as he said, flamboyant, has a like an arrogant, till what happens in the last scene, which will probably break your heart. Music, there's one song called Khoya Paya. It's brilliant. And again, when I talk about performance, like everybody was good. Amrita Subhash, even though with a flat character, she like made
She did with what she was
she
given.
made us hate her.
Yeah.
So that means she got her job done.
Yeah.
And Soham Majumdar, like
Yes, amazing antagonist.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
you know, seeing great villains is something, in films, it's something, somewhat of a rarity. But seeing him, it's like it's really amazing that how he's plays such a great antagonist. Somebody who deals with all mind games and stuff and all that shit.
and
I'm
like
not really
most
gonna
of
spoil
his
much,
most of his
but
role
yeah.
is on like a voice. So you only,
Spoiler.
I mean, like everybody knows, like
Trailer, cool.
So you only get to see like physically very less. But I mean, as I said,
Yes.
as a Bengali, I'm proud that a Bengali got
Exactly.
to play. And some of you might know this, like he's the same person who played Shahid Kapoor's best friend in Kabir Singh. So brilliantly done.
Seeing him as,
Majumdar.
we actually feel for his character, through his voice alone.
As I said, we don't know if he's the antagonist.
Yeah,
And
but as a very morally gray character, gray. Yeah,
he's
we
like,
feel for him.
he's in an ambiguous zone.
Very ambiguous zone, but we feel for him. We feel for his character. We can understand
And he has
how
a
through
narc
his
as well.
character we can see like the corruption of the media, the government. Which is really an obvious matter. How corrupt they are, and we get that lens through him. Through him we understand how how society actually is. How all these organizations, how the hierarchy is, how the media is. How media is like a big enemy to literally any one of us. Something gets spread, like a false sex accusation, a rape accusation, rape allegations. One news broadcast is enough, or one woman's word, which can then spread to the news channel, is enough to ruin that person's life. So we know how the media is like this big enemy of ours, and it's like a big tool which people can use to ruin someone's life. So
and moving on to the technical aspects, one thing for which the film works really well is Ram Madhvani's treatment. It's not a conventional way of shooting. There's zoom in, zoom outs within shot. And I mean, you guys should watch this recent interview on Film Companion where Ram Madhvani and Kartik Aaryan were interviewed by Anupama Chopra. They were shooting with multiple cameras at a time. So, like Mrunal Thakur's section in the bridge and Kartik Aaryan in the live studio, they were actually happening simultaneously. It was not traditionally shot. It was shot there, then this is shot, edited. It was actually shot live. So you can feel that authenticity. So treatment, cinematography is brilliant. It's on point. Like it doesn't stand out, which is a good thing because you feel like you're in that room. Production design is superb, and like because I go into making of films and all, I know that this film was actually shot in a hotel, so they actually created that newsroom set on that hotel. So production design, costumes, he was talking to me about color palette. There's a blue color palette,
very gloomy, cold. You can see the mood of the characters actually reflect from
so cinematography, editing, production design, color palette, music, grading, everything was on point. Like everything was brilliantly done. Just one thing that we had a little complaint about is in a few portions VFX. Like we were talking,
ending portion
the ending
particularly
portion
to pluck it from the movies, the ending portion, it just didn't really
so
could have been better.
Could have been definitely better. But I mean, it's not totally bad. There's a lot of good VFX as well. Some portions, like you can understand it's VFX. That's why it's, I mean, and
also the shaky camera, use of shaky camera, to give that uneasy feeling, because the characters there, Kartik Aaryan especially feels uneasy throughout the whole film.
The treatment of this film, especially when it comes to cinematography, it's brilliant, and also the production design, like that really, worked for me brilliantly. So and on closing note, we would all like to would like to mention something special, like we do for our reviews. One thing is, it's great. I don't know if you guys know it. This film was shot in 10 days, just 10 days, and probably because we're shooting with multiple cameras, but it's still a great achievement, and still to make it look this good. And by good I mean such authentic, and like the special takeaway was we are media students, so this was like actually like a big schooling for us, that what happens in the industry. And like I don't want to put up my judgment out there. You guys can watch it, judge it for yourselves. As we said, the setting of the film is in a completely morally ambiguous zone. So but some of you might be familiar, some of you might be shocked. We were kind of familiar with this, but like we were still shocked. So it was like, so you guys will get to know a lot about how the media, the news and journalism, function, and how people's ideologies are. And you can see all types of characters. Like Mrunal Thakur's character represents one ideology, and Amrita Subhash's character
represents another ideology.
Complete ideology.
Yes.
So it's a very informative film at the same time as well. So any thoughts?
Also, another interesting thing you notice in the film is a screen which has words in it, which drives the plot forward. Teleprompter, exactly. I forgot what it was. So Kartik Aaryan has to keep looking at the teleprompter to say what he wants to say next, and in that sense it drives the plot forward. like, sometimes, in films you notice a certain object in a particular place where, if that object, it has to come into play, eventually in the film. Let's say, like, there's like a room, and then, there's like a gun holster somewhere,
It's like a metaphor that Kartik Aaryan's character is a slave of the system.
Yes, it's also a metaphor. It works in that way. Like, he's a slave of the system. He has to do exactly what that system tells him to do. He even though he tries to break free from it, even though he wants to break free from it, he is unable to do so,
and
because
after seeing all this, what happens in the end, that's why the film will like hit you. And even if it's a remake, probably it's a commercial film made by a studio, RSVP and all, get all of that. But let's be true. There's a reason why we don't review every film. There's a reason we are reviewing it. It really hit us. So do watch the film on Netflix. It's just 1 hour 45 minutes. Please do watch the film on Netflix.
Please do take time from your schedule and make at least 2 hours time frame
and
watch this movie.
And
it's really amazing. I'm telling you, you will enjoy it.
You will enjoy it
thoroughly. You will be invested from the moment it starts. That much I'll tell you.
So that's it, guys. So if you like this review, then
please do hit the like button, subscribe,
like, comment, share, and all. But
share your own thoughts about the movie if you've seen
definitely.
it.
But all this is not important. What's important for you to go to your Netflix and watch this film. Okay. So thank you, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and see you in our next video. Bye.